Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to my second show on the brand new channel. Today's show is called Best of the Best. It's a top five show. Each week we'll do top five, WWE champions of all time, or top five, major impact players, or something, some top five to that effect. Before I get to today's top five, I want to first of all thank all of you so much for the overwhelming response to One on One. Over 650 views as of when I last looked. I haven't looked recently, and I should be. It's a brand new channel. I should be paying attention. But thank you guys for all the positive comments. I haven't had a negative comment yet, and I really appreciate that. It's very important to me. I've been very nervous about this whole thing, so thank you guys so much for the awesome response. As far as today goes, today's top five is one that's near and dear to my heart. It is a top five favorite interviews I've ever done. And a lot of you guys listed other people, and including one I have as an honorable mention, and that would be John Morrison and Melina when they were on After the Bell when we taped at IO West. And thank you to Christian Rosenberg for that setup. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. But interviewing John and Melina was really cool because you got to see John's take outside of WWE, which you don't get to see a whole lot of ex-WWE superstars, on my show anymore, because my show's pretty much just me or, whoever I'm working with at the time. But every once in a while we'll get a superstar on here. We'll do our best, okay? Now, on to the list itself. At number 5 was from the old Extreme Mayhem show. And that was Chaos and GQ Money when they were on in March of 2003, just after leaving XPW. It's my favorite for a couple. I'm a top 5 for a couple reasons. One, because I always enjoyed Chaos and GQ Money. I like the personalities, I like the characters, I like the guys behind the characters. They're both awesome guys, both really cool, really knowledgeable about the business, and really seem to have a good heads on their shoulders as far as being grounded a little bit, and realizing that that things aren't always what they seem. I guess I'm trying to say, I don't know. But what was cool about that interview was it was just after they left XPW. They were the talk of the wrestling world as far as their departure and what led to it and everything like that. And Mike and I got the very first interview they ever did about the subject, so it was really cool to have them do their thing on our show, which was still picking up steam, still really getting under itself in terms of a foothold in the internet wrestling world at the time. Number 4 is a tie. Any of the AJ Styles interviews, now that I just blew the cover, and any of the Chris Daniels interviews. We had, I believe, 2 Daniels on XMV, and I think 2 AJs on XMV. I'm not entirely sure how. I know we had AJ and Daniels on the same taping, and then we had Daniels on before that with Mike and I, and we had AJ on our early XMV, like early '05 at Frankensons. I remember that. It was always a pleasure to talk to both those guys. Those guys are just so awesome and so knowledgeable about the business, and they both were, even at the time, megastars in TNA. They were the backbone of TNA, especially AJ. AJ's been TNA's bread and butter for over 10 years now, in my opinion. And to have a guy like AJ be on your show and promote, and it was really funny to look back on that now and talk about how AJ's opinion of Hulk Hogan back in the day, and now here they are working together. It was just kind of funny. I remember that now. Number 3, Sean Waltman on XMV. We had Sean on not too long after we had China on. If you guys remember that, the XMV with China at the house on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, with all the shenanigans that went down, and then of course Joni got arrested earlier New Year's Eve morning, and had that incident go down, and then Sean was on not too long after, and we had a good, long, very frank conversation with Sean about Joni and about his career, and we did word association with him, and we just had a lot of fun, and we went up and down Melrose with him. We went into his favorite one of his favorite stores on Melrose, Art Jewelry, or Art and Jewelry, or I forget what it was called. I apologize for that, Sean. But I enjoyed that interview a lot more than I did a lot of the other ones, just because it was real and it was very candid, which we always used to get in XMV, but Sean was more candid than I think a lot of the other guys were. Number two is I think, three-way tie. I'm not sure how many times we had Bobby Heenan on Extreme Mayhem, but we had him on quite a bit, and Bobby always made for a great interview, and I am so saddened to hear that he is not doing well medically. I hope that the reports are getting better. I haven't heard anything from there in a while. Not since well, I mean, you look on Wikipedia about guys, and you never know for sure. But with Bobby, the first thing I remember very distinctly, the very first interview we ever did with him, we had him on, and we gave him this great introduction, and he said, "Oh, I thought you were going to say Tony Schiavone," and then he asked us to mention Schiavone's name again. He flushed the toilets. Typical toilet gag. You gotta love Bobby Heenan, the toilet humor. Um, but I will always remember talking to Bobby and talking to his wife Cindy on the phone in between interviews more than anything else, because Bobby and Cindy are both such awesome, I've used that word a lot today, but genuine people, real people, and that's what I found most intriguing about Bobby Heenan, was this over-the-top character in WWE, WCW, and everywhere else he's been, was just very down to earth and very real. I thought that was really cool. And my favorite interview, was there ever any doubt? Of course not. It's Rob Van Dam, and the Rob Van Dam interview in particular on Talk Wrestling. We had Rob on XMV twice, once with Mike and I, once with the group of us and Rob before he returned to the Royal Rumble in 2006. But him on Talk Wrestling really put Talk Wrestling on the map. I mean, we had been doing Talk Wrestling for about 6 months before we had Rob on, and within a week of having that three-part interview up on the YouTube channel and on No DQ, numbers blew up. We went through the roof. We started making, Aaron started making some money, and it was incredible how much was generated out of that one three-part interview we did with Rob for an hour. We talked with him for an hour that time, and it was just unbelievable how it went. I was so impressed and so grateful to Rob and to Sonia and to his friend who let us use his house for a backdrop for an interview. That was really cool. And we talked about, he left WWE by then, and he hadn't quite reached TNA yet. I mean, this is early 2008. Jade was there with me, and she was still pregnant with Dylan. That's how long ago this was, if you can believe that. So I thought that was really cool. All right. That's my favorites. I heard some of your favorites earlier in the week. What are your guys' favorite interviews I've ever done? Let me know. Give me some feedback here on YouTube at youtube.com/jdmeacham. You can also find me now on Blogger at jdmeacham.blogspot.com. I set that up on Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning. So check that out. Of course, facebook.com/Jeff Meacham to inbox me. Don't friend me there if you don't know me. I know I'm picky. And twitter.com/_Jeff Meacham. That's it for now. Coming up on Saturday, we're going to have a weekend review. We'll look back at Raw. We'll look back at Main Event if I get to watch it. I have it on DVR. Tonight's Impact, and of course, Friday Night SmackDown. So for now, this is Jeff Meacham saying so long.